This is one of the things that is obviously really key, which is what built this country is ultimately building. The mentality of building, the mentality of working together. In a sense, not necessarily just uh, not just the Democrats, but also the tyrants in the criminal oligarchs who have been doing criminal actions for a very long time. It's in a sense it's a lack of understanding, I guess, of exactly what it takes to build something, which is it's wanting to build it to become better, wanting to build it to have in a sense of I don't know, building, and that's ultimately, you build something to come together, and you have, we both understand, these natural rights and these kind of things. That's something that's easily understood, which is why the founding fathers built, a country, for example, in a sense of liberty, in a sense of freedom, which is the U.S. Constitution, which is ultimately what should be supported, which is supported by, of course, great people everywhere, and the point is, it's not the fact that we should focus on, and here's what actually builds us together once again, which is actually happening right now, and most people, I can honestly say, actually get this. It's not about what, putting the attention upon what divides us, which is what globalists like George Soros and just anti-humanist elites want to do. It's more about what are those incredible ways, which is what this broadcast is all about, wondrous ways that we can not only just bypass that entire ideology and their control system and their EU and all that stuff, but how we can accelerate it and heal it faster than they can break it down. And so a wonderful thing to do that, way to do that is just bringing back that mentality of building. And what they do is they break it on plain sight. And this is what's so key, because it's wonderful to put it on the spotlight. Okay, this is the news, this is big stuff that's happening over in Britain. This is the king of the EU. This is the major anti-humanist. This is how his history worked. This is George Soros. He's an admitted Nazi collaborator. This is a Nazi family. This is their agenda. This is their history. That's all very key. And then this is the history of what made it this way. And then this is the type of elitist negativity, that cycle that these elitists want to continue to degrade, to control, to divide countries like they did before. And this is history repeating like it did in prior to the Dark Ages, what kept the Dark Ages. This is history repeating in the divide and conquer for in a really great example is Prussia. Way back in Prussia, that times period, the divide and conquer that's not necessarily known during the Nazi times that had to do with advanced technology, and I'm gonna get into that, and exactly the times that are going on now. What's really, really key, which is I harp on so importantly, is the very same tools of suppression, or the things that they keep hidden from us, which are incredible tools, should be put out to the public, are these things such as the very thing that would cause the downfall of only the elites, not necessarily their downfall, but just the building up of a society of free market and of great people and of just good people, not bad people, so quickly that there's nothing that can be done to stop it. And so here's the thing, and which I've harped on many times: this suppressed technology, the very technology that they suppress, for example, which I wrote a thesis about. Not it's about the thesis. It's more about opening up the mind, so how we can ultimately work to build a better society. And it's not even like you're just an ant, all right? You think like an ant. And I had this analogy yesterday. It just came to me, and I just really want to explain it, because that's a wonderful mindset. It's building. Ants just want to build. They build. They support. They tunnel. They supply. They move. They gather. They scavenge, and they work all the time. That's kind of like the mentality, and they always work together. They coordinate. And they don't speak at all. It's just it's pure intuition in a sense. They just know when ant colony just starts. They're very, you notice that they're very, very, very slow in the beginning, and then after about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, bam, they just kind of click together. They start tunneling. They start just going to work, and then go to town. And that's exactly how, in a sense, what's happening now. Like we're growing, but now we kind of just explode. Like just in the same way a flower blooms or a plant blooms, it grows its roots, and then it puts out those leaves. And when it gets that sunlight, gets that food, and it gets that water, it's like bam, it's ready to go, and just grows and grows and grows. It doesn't stop growing, and so it's all obviously constantly opening up its flowers, opening up its. And those flowers turn into fruit, and those fruit contain seeds, and those seeds go back into the ground. It becomes a forest. As soon as that flower sprouts, it becomes a forest. So that's exactly what we do. It's not building. It's not going against the stream. It's not climbing uphill. All it is, it's building the roots and spreading your seeds and building a wonderful, beautiful foundation off of that which already exists. So that's why I come to. So what are the wonderful things that build? Is the very same things that the elites try to suppress, and just to great insight. I mean, there are many energy invention suppression cases, all the way from. And I've mentioned this before, but it's very key because this is exactly how we not only create perpetual motion of machines, but perpetual motion of humanity, of mankind, of the man's positive will, positive intentions, and positive actions toward this creation of this renaissance which we're building, which we're in a part of and actively working for, actively working in, and actively working to support. And this support it's so, in a sense, it's so solid that nothing tyrants can do can break it down. And here's why. And I'm going to break it down. So this is obviously, in a sense, what helps us understand how to build. Like ants is exactly understanding what, in a sense, how we need to, in a sense, as ants, work together to break down the spider, in a sense. All right, so let's use that analogy. So the spider is the companies that are involved with energy invention suppression. Standard Oil, Atlantic Richfield, ExxonMobil, Shell Oil Company, General Electric Company, Yakuza, California Air Resources Board, Wells Fargo Bank, Ford Motor Company, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Queen of England, World Bank, Rockefellers, Carlyle Group, the Bush family. These are just some of the major companies, banks, agencies, private groups, and universities involved in suppression. There's a number of dead, missing, or injured energy inventors, energy researchers, and this is in the past previously that's been done in order to keep these inventions secret. So what are these inventions? What is so secret that these companies, these banks, and these industries are working so hard to not have this technology put out there? We got cold fusion. We got over unity power converters. There's a Model T flow generator with magnets added. Vacuum triode amplifier. 200 plus mile per gallon carburetor. Fuel savers, 100 miles per gallon plus, Ogle Mobile by Tom Ogle. Super ceramics to anti-aging and anti-gravity thermionic couple. We got thermal electric cooling devices to liquid electricity engine to the Freon-based low-temperature phase change engine. I mean, this is just stuff I've researched and read about last year, even before last year. And, this stuff is known. Of course, this is actually even stuff that Stephen Greer put together, which is also what I strongly encourage. Watch that video. It's in April, end of April. Go to that live video of the first live screening of Unacknowledged. You gotta watch that. We gotta watch that. Know about the Unacknowledged Special Access programs. We got to know about that. We have to be enlightened about exactly the big picture of what's going on. And I can promise you, just with the intention of positivity, for one, the creative imagination of the mind itself, too, and the knowledge of the subversion and the criminal actions that have been taken, which will be revealed in Unacknowledged, which is not just all about the criminal action. It goes more into depth about the stuff. Knowing those three things combined will give you all the tools, the knowledge, and the focus, and the ability to have the drive, the energy, and the will to move forward, to build civilization. And you'll be able to have the clarity to research, to build, to create, and to ultimately, in a sense, educate and teach and, answer any type of problems and provide solutions for bigger problems that, are said to be in existence, which aren't necessarily that big of problems, So, I mean, these are wonderful inventions that have been suppressed. Because why? And I can just give this analogy because obviously, and it's so obvious, and I knew this at such a young age, how in the world can this still be the thing? How is this the best that there is? It's not. Okay, it's beautiful. I'm not going to downplay the wonderful technology of machines, of cranes, of jets, of airplanes, of train systems, how they run. My whole life I've studied those things. My dad gave me books on trains. I've been fascinated with trains. Since I was very, very young. And I know there's more individuals who are just like me. I've been fascinated by trains. And then I discover what? Okay, there's underground train systems that's probably hopefully going to be revealed and Unacknowledged. I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. I still have yet to see the DVD, but I'm just going to make... and I've spoken about this before, definitely on my broadcast or somewhere out there. I put it out there. There are trains that move at 3,000 plus miles an hour. All right, why can't that be used to the general public? Why isn't that known? All right, what about the advanced electromagnetic? And I'm not talking about the EMVs or the Levite, those trains in France. I'm not talking about 200 miles an hour or 200 miles an hour plus. No, I'm talking about 3,000 miles per hour. I'm talking about faster than 3,000 miles per hour. That's the type of technology that we should have in the 50s, in the 60s, in the 70s, all right? This stuff that... Anyway, I'm not going to go into a tangent about JFK. I'm just putting it out there. I might be wrong, but first of all, he knew about what's going on, and he wanted to speak about it, about the military-industrial complex and all that, the stuff that Eisenhower warned of, but I digress. First of all, okay, look at this here. We got 376.59 mile per gallon with a modified 1959 Opel in 1973. Okay. The Shell Oil Company achieves 376.59 miles per gallon with a modified 1959 Opel in 1973. I just wanted to repeat that because that just sounds so great. Shell Oil Company. Shell wrote Fuel Economy of the Gasoline Engine. It was published by John Wiley & Sons, New York, 1977. On page 42, Shell Oil quotes the president of General Motors, who in 1929 predicted 80 miles per gallon by 1939. Between pages 221 and 223, this can be found on brianwine.com, file Shell, the PDF. First of all, this is... The title of this document is called Energy Invention Suppressor Cases, and this is posted September 3rd, 2007. I was in 8th grade. If I found this out in 8th grade, I'd be livid. Alright, so Shell writes their achievements, 49.73 miles per gallon, around 1939. 149.95 miles per gallon with a 1947 Studebaker in 1949. 244.35 miles per gallon with a 1959 Fiat 600 in 1968. 376.59 miles per gallon with a modified 1959 Opel in 1973. Where is a freaking car that goes on 376.59 miles per gallon? that I can buy. Where can I buy that? Show me. What? That was going on in what, 59? Sorry, I'm just... The Library of Congress in September 1990 did not have a copy of this book. It was missing from their files, of course. They had it since it was legally required to have at least one copy of all such publications in the U.S. However, it seemed to have been stolen or hidden. Byron, Byron, Wine, bought a copy from Maryland Book Exchange around 1980. First of all, this is on my website, so I just want to interject there. Anyway, I continue on. After a professor informed him that it was used as an engineering text at the University of West Virginia. The car is now owned by... Oh, okay. The car is now owned by an Alabama antique car restoration company. So that's awesome. I mean... Excuse me. I mean, hopefully... I mean, I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong so badly. I want to be wrong. I hope, like, somebody comes up to me, like, immediately and says, hey, did you basically lied by saying that there actually are 300 mile per gallon cars on the market. You should just go look for them. And I would say, oh my goodness, there actually are 300 mile per gallon cars, 300 plus mile per gallon cars. But, okay, if that's true, then obviously I'll be happy and I'll drop that part of the case. But the thing is, you know, we got these oil companies, and I'm not against oil. You know, I'm not against coal. I'm not against that stuff because that's the kind of stuff that builds the economy. All right. But when in the 70s we had this stuff, this kind of stuff should have built the economy ages ago. And the oil problems that we had growing up, that we have, you know. Like all this oil stuff should not be an issue, this major issue, if we have this much technology to actually utilize that resource properly. And I'm not saying that we should cut the resources. I'm saying that there's better ways to actually... there's better inventions that have been made since way before I was born, since before... my parents were born, to have these type of technologies, these engines, be out in the market that are way more productive and advanced than we actually have. And that's the next thing that I want to go into, which is, of course, all goes back to the building. Build. It's the fact that it's not just about engines and carburetors and transportation devices that have been under, in a sense, this form of enslavement by these monopolies, these corrupt oligarchies who have done very unconstitutional things that should have been indicted ages ago by keeping this type of illegal suppression that's been going on. It's the fact of the matter is, this stuff, this should not be going on, and it's been in a sense been rampant. So now, in a sense, we've got these major super ultra rich, because they've been, you know, gaining all this wealth. But, you know, in a sense, we can take it back. Why? Because we not only have the ability to have these inventions that are now known out in the public, which, you know, you can see on my website, like, since last year. You can take, and I'm not about, you know, keeping this secret and then, you know, just building myself up so that only I can gain a whole bunch of money and then just repeat the monopolistic process, because that's not how you build. Not that I'm saying, like, I'm super knowing on how to build and all that stuff. I'm just saying that the examples that of a free market, for example, that has been done, like, for example, all this rebuilding of the economy, this boosting of the economy is really, really good. So, and the wonderful things that can add to that, of course, is the actual technology that advances that. You know, technology is not bad, all right? The technology that's already been made is definitely not bad, all right? The technology that can advance the majority of civilization, the majority of Americans, is not bad at all, alright? The fact of the matter that we have the ability to create a more substantial, more prosperous and valuable renaissanistic ecosystem in an economic and socially advanced society civilization is a great thing. You know, I've talked about this over and over, the reverse aging effects that are obviously such a much better healing. And, you know, it's not crazy, all right? That stuff has been out since, okay, this is, 93. This email was sent out. In 1993, June 13th. All right? This is totally worth it. I mean, especially for the prices that are with. It's not cool. All right, it's really. Okay, we got what, 5? There's 5-digit numbers being paid for, and I'm not knocking the medical system. I'm just saying that there's better stuff out there. All right, that would be beneficial for everybody. We got a way better, way more efficient, and way more advanced medical things, of course, that are way better than vaccines. That puts, in a sense, that vaccine theory or immunity builder obsolete, because one, you got anti-aging, which actually couples with the physics of anti-gravity, on exactly how our DNA is how DNA is, electrically permeable, in a sense. It's electrically controllable. The quote that's here says, I'm just going to read the whole email. Dave, there's an Italian researcher, he actually had a PhD, who did research on how magnetic fields affect the body. He made about 3 or 4 classifications of magnetic type energy fields. 2 were bad, 1 had some health benefits, but in the long run it had detrimental effects. The last one was, of course, the one he speaks of as main area of research was biophysics. Anyway, he built something that resembled a thermionic couple. It also levitated too. I said his name was, he's dead, murdered some time back. His device worked really well as far as curing cancer goes, and he was killed for it, run over several times to ensure his demise. His ideas on how our DNA is electrically controllable is fascinating. With this device, you could theoretically live until you died of an accident. Once you reached about 40-something, well, let me put it differently. Once your body reached 10 base pairs per turn, DNA lingo, you could use the device to sustain that state of being. Anything less than that, you begin to deteriorate, i.e. grow old. Now, if you perhaps could find the right setting, perhaps you could be 25 forever. But who in the world wants that? Question mark, exclamation point, question mark, exclamation point. Okay, but once again, I'm going to continue reading, and this is what I think was one of the major points, but I'm just going to continue reading. Quote, there were reverse aging effects detected claimed to be just theoretical. He, parentheses, Dodo, close parentheses, witnessed it. Anyways, I have the document and have read it. Would be cool to build. The most expensive piece is the ring part. It is an alloy, but it would cost about 13 grand to build. Maybe less if you knew the right people. It might be worth it for immortality and a life free of cancer and AIDS and the common cold. Robert Bonner, close quote. I'm just reading stuff here. See, this is literally the stuff that... See, what? This is... Okay, I'm just going to reiterate this. 1993. What? It might be worth it for immortality, life free of cancer and AIDS and the common cold. 1993. So, okay, so technically, in 93, there's no... just connecting the dots here. There's no reason to ever have a reason to what? Have degradation and war. Peace could have started back then, and that's one thing I'm extremely adamant about. Just the foundation of the inventions alone are pure reason to have no possible argument against peace on earth. There is no possible argument why peace on earth is not a reality. And that's what I've been arguing. Not arguing, but it's just, you can't even argue it, It's a fact now. It's impossible to deny. There's more reasons to have peace on earth than there are reasons not to. So, okay, that's exactly why... Never mind, I'm not gonna get all irritated, but seriously. what is going on with this. I swear, this Kim Jong Un. What are you doing? What are you doing? I mean, I can literally help you build North Korea in a month, and it will be an extraordinarily advanced, positive civilization, and you can be the example for the rest of the world of exactly how you can explode. Why? Because you could say, whoop, flip, creating massive abundance. You will have such a brilliant state. You'll have such a brilliant republic. You'll have such a brilliant renaissance that could happen literally starting overnight, literally in a month. Oh my goodness, you can be incredibly successful and not have any tensions at all. Ever. You would be so positive that it would do the opposite of creating tension. It would create relaxation, it would create comfort, and it would create absolute desire for peace and prosperity. Look at the opportunities with just those 3 examples that I gave you. I have a massive, heavy... There's so much research out there. I mean, come on. Once again, peace is it's just the simple foundation. And then, of course, I'm not just stopping with peace on earth. You can have paradise on earth. All right, why? Because, and that's in a sense a segue, which is one of the connecting dots that is, for example, paradise on earth is a type. And I know it might sound like I'm speaking another language, or Chinese, or just Uzbek of extraterrestrial language, but just listen carefully, just bear with me, and hopefully some of my listeners who kind of know about history can understand. Well, just bear with me when I say Type 0 civilization, of course, runs on fossil fuels. That's exactly, in a sense, just breaking it down, what globalist forces want. Because globalist forces control it. But they don't want that just to control the monopoly of oil and all the fossil fuels and all that jazz. They want to enslave and ultimately kill off all of humanity. That's known, alright? That's obviously known. Globalist forces are anti-human, and they don't have our goodwill intentions. Alright, so now you have a great leader like me who wants to actually promote and go into places and promote wealth and prosperity. I don't think there's really been many individuals such as I who are willing to just go into for example, just torn up areas, just rotten areas, just totally globalist forces areas that have been sucked dry, and wanting to not only have the knowledge, the ability, and the tenacity, and the courage, and commitment to restore it, but actually, will do everything possible to make that happen. I'm not afraid of anything, because, this is already cemented in those who have gone before us, in a sense. So, in a sense, this is crystallizing exactly how the foundation of any type of corruption that exists anywhere in the world could be not only subverted and undone, but to be accelerated in a rate of positive co-creation that is literal renaissance, at the speed of renaissance. What does that mean? Type 0 civilization to Type 1 civilization, you don't have to go, for example, through the previous mindset of processes like, you gotta find the right person, you gotta find the right people, you gotta make a lot of money, you gotta do all this stuff, and, build a foundation, you gotta disseminate it. No. There's so many more ways, so many more co-creative ways. Just by being innately where you are in this time of history, you are absolutely part of the accelerated potential of this renaissance, for one, just by being a member of the co-creative force. 2, the type of this dissemination of knowledge is not necessarily, it's very against what, for example, the globalists do. So all that they can do is do what they've done, which is keep it hidden, suppress it, and try and, be the narrative, which is what, and not saying that's bad. Once again, like I mentioned before in a previous era, is exactly what enlightens the minds, because once again, in a sense, just like quoted from Stephen Greer, we will not be fooled again. In a sense, we can't be fooled again, especially when it comes to fossil fuels. So now, let me just go into the point I was trying to get at. Type 1 civilization. You have enough, it's like basically Type 1 civilization, one quick example is, you have the ability to support the entire world's enough energy to supply the energy for the entire world. So let me break that down so it makes a little bit more sense. Type 1 civilization is 10 to the power of 16 watts. Is the ability with civilization with enough energy, basically, quote unquote, to support a planet, parentheses, close parentheses, Earth, and able to harness enough energy to power it. A planetary civilization. And you can store the energy, of a planetary civilization. And Type 2 civilization, which would be, Type 1 is the foundation, and Type 2 civilization is the... and see, here's the thing. Type 1 civilization is actually, it's biologically, politically, and economically impossible to have an elite. I can break that down because I have the clarity and the ability to do that, but I'm going to digress into really the next segment, which is, once again, furthering humanity, not necessarily debating how to further it. Because honestly, I don't have the patience for that, I don't have the patience to debate the facts about, let's take some time to figure out how we're going to build Type 1 civilizations. Let's take some time to figure out, let's learn about these globalist forces. Are they really, these globalists, are they really bad? Is the EU really not for? Is Le Pen really telling the truth? I don't do that. I will not do that. That's not my job. That's not my. Go. With all due respect, and I say this with the most respect as possible. If you want to learn at that level, if you want to discern, have that type of discernment, you can know those experts who've been knowing about it for a very long time, such as Alex Jones and Infowars.com, David Knight, Anthony Gucciardi, Michael Savage, all these individuals, Mike Cernovich, Paul Joseph Watson's. They're excellent at that. They're very. But the point is, I just want to move forward. So once again, Type 1 civilization, there's Type 2 civilization. Because I'm a builder. I just love to build. I love to build. Anyway, I continue on. I'm digressing. Type 2 civilization has the ability to harness the power of a star. All the energy output of a star can be utilized, or that amount of energy can be used to run that civilization. Type 2 civilization is 10 to the power of 26 watts. And then ultimately, Type 2 civilization would be the foundation of a Type 3 civilization, which is Type 3 civilization has the output of 10 to the power of 36 watts. And that's exactly how, in a sense, you make headway. So, I just crystallized all that stuff. This progression honestly can easily happen in a 4-year period, in basically one term. Now, whether it's this term, the next one, or the next one, or the next one, or the next one, or when I become president and actually, work to build civilization, which I, in a sense, always do. This is a type of enlightening knowledge that allows us to step into the age where we can be all that we can be. We can really be humans, and we can really pave the way, pave the roads, pave the buildings, make the architecture, make the lessons, teach the classes, do the education, build the colleges, and all that stuff. Take it to the next level. So what? We got, so this solves all of our solutions. First of all, you don't have an energy problem, all right? What happens when you have an abundance of energy? You have an abundance of food. What happens when you have an abundance of food? You have an abundance of shelter. What happens when you have an abundance of shelter? You have an abundance of water. What happens when you have an abundance of water? You have an abundance of supply. You have a supply. You have a surplus. A surplus of a supply of surplus. You have a surplus supply of surplus. Like just a brand new term, brand new theme, brand new actual existence. All right, so we and it's not just families are able to. I mean, of course, you're gonna have basically what's gonna be competitive to 8, 9, 10, 11-year-old entrepreneurs, but it's once again it's a bit bigger than that because and of course it's gonna get younger, younger. It's just because we're just going to get that much smarter and that much more co-creative. It's once again way beyond that. Once again, we're going to have better health, better stability, and better sustainability. It's going to be a fact. We're going to be able to create more co-creative stuff, and it's going to be accelerating way faster. And I was super excited. And I still am super excited about this. Super faster than anything before. It's not necessarily. It's no longer, these are the things that keep us in this life form. This is the only way to live life. It's like the life ability that you can do is to build something so grand that it just grows and grows and grows, and it's exponential rate. So you're building, in a sense, basically almost, not almost, but you can combine it with what the Agarthans did, which is, for example, Shambhala is a great example of a galactic society. Once again, we can build even faster than that. And it also comes into precursor engineering. Creating something from nothing when you got replicators. You can really build incredible things. You can create what once again, like, in a sense. This is, enlightened thinking of the next level of manufacturing factories. But you at the next level of manufacturing, outputting incredibly quickly. You got, basically the 21st century assembly line. And I'm telling, gosh, this is so extraordinary. I mean, crank this out in a Type 1 civilization is gonna be, It's such renaissanceistic. Every single aspect about it is Renaissance. Type 2, cranking it out, once again, absolutely every single facet is just golden age. I mean, for millennia. And then Type 3, you're just building. So that's why I don't even see the amount of human potential we have here. I'm going to say this, don't ever use the R word. Don't even talk to me about division, about racism, or anything like that. If you have a beating heart that beats, if you have skin, if you have bones, you're more important than any little freaking material thing. The effort of the liberty freedom movement about this actual age of Renaissance is so important. Is to everybody, in a sense. Everybody wins, I can name trillions of ways till Sunday to do it. There's so many advantages. There's so much positivity. There's nothing. I'm sorry, globalists, but there's nothing you can do. This is nothing but victory for everybody. Winning, pure prosperity. Type 3 civilization. I'm committed, alright? And so, I gave great examples. The ambassador of Agartha is coming in August to Garden City, New York. You got unacknowledged Stephen Greer. You got great I'm not gonna lie, I gotta put it out there. But see, I basically subverted ultimately, I mean, I'm not even lying. I'm subverting every single threat that would go to. I'm basically distracting. I'm using a huge distraction for the globalists, the elites, because in a sense, to be honest, like those that know how evil they are just knows how evil they are. In a sense, us good people, we don't understand that level of it. We just don't understand it. So they're so, in a sense, corrupt. They're so blinded with corruption that it's so easy to, in a sense, just. I'm not gonna say further but let me just say I know what I'm doing. I know exactly what I'm doing. All right, and we're in good hands. We're in very, very good hands. So it's great. We're this. It's gonna look this thing that we're going through, in a sense. It's trust me. Trust the. I kind of already explained it, but don't. In a sense, don't worry. I mean, I'm coming up with all these, these phrases. Don't worry. Be happy. Be peaceful. Be knowledgeable. I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm not gonna say exactly, or else it could be used against the people. It could be used against very, very positive people. I know what I'm doing. All right. I'm totally aware. I've let's just say in a sense I'm bred for this. We're in good hands. All right. We're in very, very good hands. Once again, every single day I've reiterated that. I'm going to continue to reiterate that. Once again, without giving the enemy too many insights, I'm leading. I know how to lead very positively without giving too much to the enemies. I know how to promote and to give peace on earth. I'm cementing paradise on earth, which is a great foundation for heaven on earth. All right, we're you're in good hands. So once again, goodness, these things are going to get really good. All right, it's just gonna be really good. And he's like, oh, how can you be so positive in this time area? How can someone like that's just John Paul Jones, outnumbered, just on all sides, just how in the world can he pull it together and make it happen? Hey, you just make it happen.